Okay, no matter what we think of the Thor movies, can we all agree the Thor hammer is the greatest Marvel toy ever made? I am 40 years old and I feel so powerful holding this damn thing. I just love it. I feel like anyone can look amazing holding that hammer. Well, almost anybody.
There's a maniac who seeks to end us all. I'm putting together the greatest team ever.
Chris Hemsworth is the God of Thunder and Natalie Portman is... 2. In Thor, Love, and Thunder. Now, obviously, before I talk about what I think of this film, I should very quickly go over what I think of the other Thor films. The first Thor, I like. It's not perfect, but I do think it works. I love everything in Asgard. It seems really big and large and epic. And when it comes to Earth, Chris Hemsworth is still charming enough. I think it works. Thor: The Dark World. I do not like this movie. I didn't like when it came out. I didn't think it aged well. Everyone said I was crazy for not liking it, but then Thor Ragnarok came out. Everyone said this is the Thor movie they've been waiting for, and they forgot they gave me shit for The Dark World. But I really, really enjoy it. It was grand, it was epic, it was silly, it pulled all the punches. I like the Thor character, and I think a lot of that is Chris Hemsworth, definitely, but I think there is a charm to this fish out of water, speaking in this epic talk, but also kind of working in everyday phrases. I really, really like him. I think he's super charming. So now we have Thor, Love, and Thunder, and let me tell you, when it's a Thor movie, it's great. When it's a Minions movie, it sucks.
And flick!
Bottom.
This is a film that, I'll be totally honest, a lot of people were enjoying it when I saw it. There were people that were applauding and laughing at every single joke, and to be fair, a lot of people like the Minions movies as well, and I think that type of humor works fine enough for a Minions movie. I don't think it works that great in Thor. I think Taika Waititi had a big hit with Ragnarok. Everybody said, yes, more of this. This is what we want. And that had a real good sense of humor. He usually does. I mean, Jojo Rabbit, What We Do in the Shadows, and of course Thor. He really knows his comedy. So I don't know if it's him or Disney just saying, no, you need more jokes for 11-year-olds. And most of them did not hit for me. I say 1 out of every 5 jokes got a laugh. And not even like a big laugh. It usually worked because of the charm of the actors and their delivery.
They're in the Shadow Realm. The atmosphere there has a darkness like no other.
It's filled with executives saying more meme jokes. When they're jokes that tie into the actual characters, I think it works. There's a scene where the bad guy has the sword up to him and he says, you're gonna feel a lot of pain. And Thor says, oh, what is pain but a construct of the weak? And then he starts to stab and he goes, okay, that's really sharp. That's good. That's a Thor joke. When you have Natalie Portman walking alongside Thor, and she's saying, I'm trying to think of my catchphrase when I kill the bad guy, because it's my first bad guy. I'm really excited. I'm trying to think of my catchphrase. It blows, and it does not match. The tone in this movie jumps around a lot, and again, when it's legit serious and big and epic and emotional, for the most part, I think it's working. When they just throw in these dumbass catchphrase jokes, it really annoyed the hell out of me.
Well then, if it's color we need, let's bring the rainbow.
Okay, speaking of meme jokes.
Taste the rainbow, motherfucker!
This is an example when they say the Marvel humor is really getting tiring. They're just getting drained from it. This is probably one of the best examples of that. If you were to tell me that Natalie Portman and Kat Dennings, yes, she's in this movie, were not the worst part, I would have a very hard time believing you. But let me tell you, even though I made a joke early on, Natalie Portman's not bad in this. And the way they somewhat tie into her getting the hammer and becoming Lady Thor, they keep it vague, but they kind of make it where you can kind of draw a few pieces together. But even if you just take the reason why she's Lady Thor out of it, they do make her interesting. And I did not hate her in the other films, but I thought she was not very interesting. And she's interesting here, and part of that is, without giving anything away, they do give her a drop of instant investment. Literally the first frame you see her, you kind of go, oh, we're doing this. all right, I didn't know we were doing this kind of story. Okay, well, it's pretty hard not to be interested in a character going through what she's going through. So it did add a lot to her, and I think the way she uses the hammer and looks in the suit is pretty cool. There's a really neat thing they have where the hammer not only flies around hitting everybody, but the shards of it fly around as well, and that's very, very clever. Even Kat Dennings, for the small role she has, is not bad. She is actually there just as a supportive friend, and she plays the supportive friend all right. That's not an invitation to see more Kat Dennings in movies, but let's treat this like an admirable breakup. You know, we both ended on good notes. Let's stop now. Let's stop.
So this is my vow. All gods will die.
He means it too. You should hear the audio of what he did to the last god.
Oh, good for you!
The basic outline and premise of the worlds they jump to, the villain they have to stop, played by Christian Bale, is all there. The pieces are there, but they are squished in sometimes because they clearly are trying to make more laugh out loud moments. But the audience was laughing, and it seemed like they were having a good time, and they were getting into it. So it's a little rough for me because I say, man, how can I actually recommend a movie that I found actively annoying throughout 2/3 of it? But with that said, there is 1/3 that is really intriguing and has some ideas, and not just ideas, but some great visuals. That Hall of the Gods or whatever it is they travel to, I saw this on IMAX in 3D, it looked great. There is a realm they travel to at the end that I'm just gonna call the Kingdom Hearts realm. The people that play the games will know what I'm talking about. But in 3D, they do a little trick when you see Christian Bale facing this sort of, I don't want to give it away, but sort of this godlike creature, and in 3D it was very compelling. They kind of played with what was flat and what was three-dimensional was breaking through the environment that you saw, so stuff like that is really, really neat.
You ever feel lost? Just look into the eyes of the people that you love.
Yeah, why Thor go with you guys again? You're in the movie for like 2 minutes. The villain as well is intriguing when he's given time to be. I feel like he's given this great backstory to start off. I mean, it's like a heartbreaking backstory, but unlike something like Guardians of the Galaxy, where it kind of segues into the zany stuff, you go from really heavy stuff like, you know, someone's mother slowly dying to him dancing to the Walkman. That's a good segue, because him dancing to the Walkman isn't just instantly funny, like laugh now. No, it's done through the opening credits. There's a pacing to it, where this one you can have a super serious scene and then just screaming goats. And let me tell you, there's a lot of screaming goats in this movie. Again, on paper, this might sound pretty funny, but when you are constantly surrounded by these things, like these are the things that actually pull the carriage, their little space boat, whatever the hell it is, to different worlds, and yes, they constantly scream, and yes, it is constantly ear bleeding. I also find I like Thor individually, I like Jane individually, I hate them together. They do the typical Twister-style romance where they're deciding whether or not they like each other. Oh, did you break up with me? No, I broke up with you. Oh, is that how it happened? And it is... Some people like these cliches, okay? They are some of the worst in my opinion, because to me, relationships are interesting and they're fascinating. Even ones where they're broken up and they're trying to figure out they should get back together can be really interesting. But when it's done in this rom-com schlock writing, it just drives me insane because there's nothing new to it at all, and it's unfunny jokes, so I'm screaming at the screen, why are we watching this? Why is this entertaining? But I understand people that just find that as comfort food. And again, I feel like the audience for this really found a lot of this as comfort food.
Must be hard for you to see your ex-girlfriend and your ex-hammer hanging out and getting on so well.
Honestly, the best stuff about ex-relationships in this movie is between the weapons. I am not joking. I'm not gonna act like everybody was laughing really hard at this movie. There were a select few, but you know, not too many people were applauding or anything. I really do love when Kat Dennings showed up. They left an applause moment and nobody applauded at that scene. But again, she wasn't that bad. I really want to give credit, she was not that bad. These constant forced Marvel jokes, I think have just overstayed their welcome, don't have this freshness anymore, and really are not needed. I'm just gonna tell you right now, you do not need these Marvel jokes anymore. These characters are likable enough, and I think Disney and Marvel have an idea that we're not gonna like these characters anymore if they're not saying funny catchphrases or topical sayings or anything like that. And that's not it. These are well-written characters. A lot of people now have grown up with these characters. You don't need to rely on these jokes anymore. With that said, I feel like if I was 11 years old, I'd get a laugh out of this, and same thing with like a lot of the jokes in the Minions movies. I'd be lying if I said I didn't think the majority of people seeing this movie weren't gonna have a good time. And that's not like, oh, I'm above the typical folk. No, that's not it at all. I'm just looking for something a little different in these Thor movies.
Just my first bad guy.
Never forget your first.
Now my impression is what everyone's probably gonna think of me in the comments.
Doug's dead.
I think most people, after they had a long day at either school or a job or whatever, they're just looking to relax and see a bunch of cool superheroes kick some ass and get some laughs along the way and maybe have a little bit of drama. And that's what this is. For me, the humor just got on my nerves too much to really enjoy it, but I'd be lying if I said I don't think a lot of the people that want to see this movie are not going to enjoy it. I think they're going to have a good time. So let's give it 2.5 out of 4 Thor buds. I think most people will like it, but if you're getting sick of the Marvel humor, I don't think it's going to win you over. With that said, how wrong was I on this movie? Because again, I really get the feeling a lot of people are going to enjoy it, and I do understand, but really, give me your honest thoughts. Did you think that the humor really did work and it was super funny and the charm of the actors really came through and you thought a lot of the twists and turns and dramatic moments just totally paid off, tied in with the humor? Or did you think it totally fell apart and the humor did destroy it and Thor's a boring character and you don't think Natalie Portman should have come back and none of this works? Or are you somewhere in between? You think that some of it worked, some of it didn't, but screw it, it's a good time. It's still a Marvel movie. Let me know your thoughts and I'll see you next time. Take care. You know, I wonder since I badmouthed a Thor movie if I'm still